Well, hello and welcome everybody to the FIA Formula Regional European Championship as we now move into race one of our Zandvoort weekend. Our sixth visit to this track since it all began, and that dated all the way back to 2021 indeed. It all started with Gregoire Saucy going from pole to victory in two sequential races. I can tell you that the temperatures, they are ramping up in the air. 28.4 degrees, track temperature dry at 42.6. It's going to be a lot for those Pirelli tyres to take. The drivers have been talking all weekend. It's been the topic. How is the degradation going to go heading into this race? Of course, we're only minutes away from the race beginning, and it'd be rude not to talk a little bit about qualifying because there was a lot to discuss. Obviously, congratulations has to go to Sebastian Weldon, a first pole position of the season, and what a pole it is too. For MP Motorsport back at their home circuit, and they stand tall on the front of the grid. Now, a little bit of breaking news concerning, not necessarily breaking as such, but Keihan Nakamura-Berta going back all the way back to Austria. Of course, you remember he won the opening race of the season campaign, but due to penalties that were basically brought to the table after that race three, that incident fed race three that of course led to him dropping down the order, eventually not even finishing, though he was declared a finisher. He had to serve his time penalties as grid drops here for this particular race because of course he didn't serve them during the race. So therefore, due to the penalties he did sustain during the course of that race, they are now converted to two 5-place grid penalties. So he's starting 10 places down on where he qualified earlier this morning, which would have been the front row of the grid in second spot, but instead he starts from P12. Another driver that unfortunately does have to take a grid drop as well is Jan Sharovsky, and he is starting just behind Andrea Dupé inside the bottom 10 of the grid. It's a very, very busy circuit. You can see the heat rising from the chassis of the cars as the pit crews, garage members get to work servicing before we go racing. For the first time this weekend, we've got two races to bring you through the course of the weekend. Of course, don't forget, we do have the 3-race fixtures lined up as well this season. We kicked that off back at Austria. Shades of the old school Formula Regional European Championship system. Sebastian Weldon, though, the Floridian, back and on top this time for the first time in the FIA Formula Regional European Championship. What an occasion for the young man in the blazing orange livery of MP Motorsport, lining up alongside Prema Racing's very own Salim Hanna, the Colombian, now returning, also looking for a big result here this time. Competed in the Middle Eastern Championship of Formula Regional and did get a victory, finishing 10th in the series at the start of the year. Of course, elsewhere has had success in the realms of British F4, dating back to last year with 3 wins and a pole, and in fact, all his podiums were victories. Thomas Dolchemanis, he'll be starting from 3rd on the grid as well. Prema very well stocked on the front 2 rows, though he will not be alone because Alexander Abexavava is going to be joining him on the same row of the grid. Just butchered that name. Apologies for that, Alex. But he'll be starting from P4 on the grid for MP Motorsport. So it's very much double MP, double Prema up at the very top, the first 2 rows, and it's going to be very fierce indeed between these two. Of course, Abexava, another driver to watch here this season. He's going to surely progress through the course of this championship, the 19-year-old who finished 3rd in the Middle Eastern Championship. Emanuele Olivieri did not necessarily have the best of starts to his championship season after what occurred back at Austria, but the Italian is back, and we know exactly what this young man is firmly capable of. Of course, back this time with RACE GP from Canelli in Italy, the 17-year-old, the competitor that was the F4 Middle Eastern champion with 6 wins. And then we have the Aston Martin Junior, Zenrui Chi, who is also showing immense promise through the course of this campaign as well. Keep your eyes on him as we make our way through the course of the race. He's not the only, of course, junior driver aligned to a top senior team. Of course, the likes of Rashid Al-Dahiri, Mercedes driver. We also have, at the same time, Andretti Jr. in Sebastian Weldon, and Alpine's Kabir Anurag, and Williams, of course, looking after Keihan Nakamura-Berta. Here's Rino Francot, though, arriving into the weekend, your championship leader, and what a story that was in race 3 back at Spielberg. CL Motorsports' first ever race win in the series for David Lee's outfit. And speaking of Rashid Al-Dahiri, here he is, has since switched teams from last season. 12 months ago, he was with Prema. He is now with RACE GP, and I'm sure looking to try and hunt down some great results. He's with the reigning teams champions now. They are now two-time teams champions, are RSGP. Last season winning it with 5 wins and 16 podiums. And before that, 2021 was their previous championship win. Dion Gouda, reigning rookie champion, now arrives back chasing the full season honours this time, and still remains with Van Amersfoort Racing, who celebrated their 50th anniversary going back to last year. And they're hoping now, moving into anniversary 51, that they can go on to do great things at this circuit, just like they did 12 months ago with Pedro Clero, who took pole on back-to-back occasions. Yuki Sano, also from RSGP, one to watch for sure. A talented Japanese driver coming in to support the likes of Rashid Al-Dahiri and Emanuele Olivieri. And then we welcome Alex Ninovic with Rodin Motorsports, the new team to the grid this season. And this man stacks somewhat of a reputation, hailing from Sydney in Australia, and is the reigning GB3 champion, also competing in British F4 the year before too. Here's Ken Nakamura-Berta, as I said, fell foul to the grid drop penalties he received as the stewards declared that the incidents he was involved with in Austria, I should say, were deemed to be punishable, and therefore he starts P12 in place of P2. So a tough start to his weekend, but there's plenty more to come, of course. Remember, 2 races across the weekend, so Ken Nakamura-Berta, he may well, though, rise up this time. We also have Miguel Costa, the Brazilian. He's coming back in the 17-year-old from who's looking to contest here this time. Very sharp talent, who also competed in the Middle Eastern Trophy earlier this year and Spanish F4 last year. And Maximilian Popov, also a fantastic talent for Trident, who are looking for an improved round after a tricky time of it in places in Austria. Didn't necessarily have the best of qualifyings either, but they've got a talented crew with the likes of Popov, who managed to achieve 2 podiums in the Formula Regional Middle Eastern Championship as well. Jules Roussel from CL Motorsport, also looking for a rapid gain, will the Frenchman from Saint-Herblain in France. Competed in the FIA F4 World Cup last year, and in fact was a winner there too, and also in French F4 the time before that. Razor Seaworthen, another driver to watch, potentially, managed to ramp his way through the ranks, scoring some really solid points finishes back at Austria last time out. Now he's going to be hunting for a podium or 2. Maybe this is his day. Of course, there will be plenty of action to feast your eyes on, folks. We all know what Zandvoort's all about. Plenty of technical cornering with mid, low-speed corners as well. Fast speed at the same time. Don't forget the notorious banked sections that you have coming through the first sector and the latter sector as well as you make your way down the long straight. So plenty for these drivers to consider as they look to move their way around the home of the Dutch Grand Prix. Many of these drivers looking to pursue careers in Formula One. This is part of that journey officially now under the new era of the FIA Formula Regional European Championship. And we look forward to seeing what this race will bring. Zandvoort expects the crowds all in the grandstands as we await. The 15 board has now been shown, so the drivers now know exactly what to do. Full focus as the grid is cleared and the formation lap will begin. An opportunity to get the heat into the tyres. Not that they'll need too much stoking up, seeing as the track temperature is very well and truly ramped up. And not to mention, we've had the GT cars making appearances all day as well. So plenty of rubber existing on that racetrack right now, which I'm sure the new Tatuus T326 will be benefiting from. Let's take you through the starting grid. P1, Sebastian Weldon starting on pole position for MP Motorsport alongside Salim Hanna from Prema. We then have Thomas Stolchemanis for Prema also, with Alexander Abakazabava in MP Motorsport 4th place. We then move down to the 3rd row, Emanuele Olivieri, and then lined up alongside him is Zen Ricci from MP Motorsport. 7th place for Rino Franco, our championship leader, lines up alongside Rashid Al-Dahiri in P8. P9, Dion Gouda, rookie champion from last season, alongside Yuki Sano in P10. Further back, we then move down to P11. Alex Ninovic lines up alongside Ken Nakamura-Berta, of course, first race winner in this championship this season. Miguel Costa in 13th place alongside Maximilian Popov from Trident. Then comes Jules Roussel in 15th, alongside him, Razor Seaworthen in 16th place. And next up, Kabir Anurag in 17th, alongside Gabriel Gomez in 18th spot. 19th for Matteo Giaccardi, lines up alongside Sergei Almasergi in 20th place as well. 21st place goes to Francisco Macedo, who was impressive in practice coming through this weekend. Hasn't quite managed to muster the same. Marcus Sater alongside him, with Andrea Dupé 23rd, alongside Jan Sharovsky, who receives that 5-place grid drop. Kai Darianani for Trident, alongside Thomas Straubin. They make up the 13th row of the grid, with Giovanni Maschio making his return, a veteran of this series now, alongside Rahim Alibai, who joins him on the same row. Now further back, 29th place, Andrea Kostic for Trident, and he lines up alongside Alexandra Munoz at the very tail end of the order. So now we feast our eyes on the cars, now moving into their respective grid slots. I'm sure many of you are supporting your own independent drivers here in this race. Of course, like I said, very much part of the pyramid system now en route to Formula One. And we've seen the likes of Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Gabriele Bortoletto, also Isaac Hadjar, Franco Colapinto, all make their way to the top flight in world motorsport. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, incidentally, of course, don't forget, current championship leader in Formula One as it stands. And if we go back to 2023 with Prema, he took victory in race 2 at this very track. And I'm sure the Prema drivers, the likes of Salim Hanna and Tamas Stolchemanis, will be looking to follow in his footsteps, as now the green flag is waved by the marshals, and now all 5 lights are lit. And they go out, it's pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go! And you can just see it right there at the very front. A brilliant start from MP Motorsports Seb Weldon, cutting off the approach from Salim Hanna, but look at this now! Prema on the move, because it's Stolchemanis who hits the front here. No, I do apologise, I think it might be Salim Hanna. We'll get confirmation now, surely, as they come through the first sector. I might have been right the first time, as the timing screen now bids to update as they make their way through the bank corners. A stunning start, but Kabir Anurag off in the gravel, and he's not alone. That's the number 5 RPM car of Miguel Costa as they now rise through the ranks through the S section. I can confirm at the moment as they make their way down the hill, 2 Prema cars currently sitting inside the top 3 as they now look to deter their way through the sequence of corners. A really unlucky run there indeed for Sebastian Weldon, just could not quite capitalise after moving across in front of Salim Hanna, and he now sits in second place as they now come through the realms of turns 8, 9 and later turns 10. They'll then ferry their way down through towards the back straight. Not forgetting they will have the ability to use race mode through the course of this. I was right the first time. Stolchemanis did indeed take the lead. So there we have it. And we've got a safety car coming out onto the track, so no overtaking at this point. The drivers have got to come down to Delta. Tamas Stolchemanis taking the initiative. What a sweeping run that was. Right round the outside coming through turn 1. The crane is on hand to collect the stricken car, and brings a halt to the race right now. Here's a replay of the moment in question. Side by side there goes Kabir Anurag, and with the clip unsettling the RPM car of, I believe it's Miguel Costa, who got caught up in all of that, the Brazilian. And it was literally as they swept through the tricky right-hander. This is leading through towards that technical turns 8, 9 and 10 section. So the safety car out on the opening lap of the race. What a start though from Stolchemanis. We see some movements as well involving Rino Franco. He's already up on his starting position at the same time, but that is really disappointing for young Miguel Costa. Keith Donegan's team would have been hoping for better, I'm sure, and misfortune has plagued him here in this opening race. The stewards believing the need for the yellow flags, and for good reason, of course, as well, as the cars are attended to. But Stolchemanis, 2 places gained, second row, pouncing on that race lead, with now Salim Hanna dropping down to 3rd. And we've got the 99 in the pits of Giovanni Maschio, so further issues for Keith Donegan's team. And you can just see there, Maschio gesturing to the rear left, almost suggesting that perhaps it's not attached properly. So we'll get confirmation indeed. They're just checking something. Safety car, I can confirm, is in this lap, so very speedy job completed by the marshals. And they're just looking at the wishbones of the car, just at the very rear. And the axle. Looks like there might be some concerns, and indeed Giovanni Maschio hops out of the car. It looks like his day is done, so really unfortunate for RPM. We'll take a look at the race start, though, again. Now, keep your eyes here on Tamas Stoltjermanis. Just look at the launch that he gets around the outside. Salim Hanna had nowhere to go. Seb Weldon was obviously too busy trying to cut him off and did not think to perhaps cover off the approach from Tamas Stoltjermanis. But I suppose, really, in this instance, it was a lose-or-lose situation for Seb Weldon, because had he not decided to cover Stoltjermanis, it may have been likely that, regardless, he would have gone around the outside. And the same could be said for Salim Hanna, because he would have had the inside line as well coming through turn one. So regardless, either way he went, he probably wouldn't have held on to first for that much longer. But regardless, a fantastic job from Prema nonetheless. They did at least have one driver making their way up into the race lead. And with 2 places gained into turn one alone, it's enough for Stoltjermanis to reign supreme at the head of the order. I did question whether this might be his weekend to garner that podium that he's looking for. Prema sat 1 and 3 at the moment. Alexander Abakazava in 4th, as well as they now pick up the speed and will certainly put pedal to the metal for the 2nd time in this race. Now you just see the weaving on show once again from Tamas Stoltjermanis, and now under attack from, oh my goodness, it looked like there that Weldon was going to risk it for a biscuit and at least hanging around the outside. Brilliant stuff from Weldon, pouncing on the opportunity. A lock-up from Stoltjermanis, opening the door for the Floridian, and he flies on through and back into the lead of the race, clearly taking exception to what happened on the opening lap coming in towards turn one. And it's wheel to wheel further back with Rashid Al-Dahiri also under pressure as they now fly through the middle sector. Soon to descend downhill, contact made and a puff of smoke, but somehow they keep it together. Al-Dahiri holding on. It looks like Alex Ninovic is part of this fracas as well. Just look at this in behind. We've also got Alexander Abakazava causing problems here for Salim Hanna. And at the same time, Stoltjermanis, who have started to drop away from Weldon somewhat, but that was a very frantic moment coming over the crest. Wheel to wheel further back, and this is what Zandvoort can give to you as you make your way through the realms of this circuit. Plenty of overtaking factors. The drivers did expect it to be a busy race. Just see there, Emmanuel Olivieri all over the back of Abakazava right now, looking for a place promotion as they come through the chicane. All the drivers raving about the car as now we see one dip off into the gravel trap. Now, by the looks of it, that was a G4 racing car that I think had made its way through. Just dipping its toes into the gravel. That's not a place you want to be in. As now we see the cars sort themselves out now. Stoltjermanis 1.1 seconds back from Seb Weldon. He's looked quick all weekend here as well. As now we see another lockup, this time for a Van Amersfoort car. No, my goodness. That's one off. And that's the number 12 that has made its way into the gravel. Yuki Sano from RHGP as the 2 Premas go wheel to wheel in the top 3 battle, trying to fight over 2nd place right now. Looks like that perhaps Stoltjermanis may have given way to Salim Hanna. We'll get confirmation here now. It's a very wide move, and indeed that's opened the door, and indeed Salim Hanna has walked on through. So with Emmanuel Olivieri also moving up to 4th ahead of Abakazava. Looking for a better weekend this time. Let's take a look at this. Oh my goodness me. Yes, understeering into the side of Yuki Sano. Here's the touch again. Front left, rear left, sending the RHGP car off the track at turn 1. So Weldon now on his own, and Olivieri now looking to pepper the back of Stoltjermanis' Prema. He's now since dropped away from his own teammate in accordance to our timing screen right now as they move through the series of right-handers before they take the bank corner and then in towards the home straight once again. Still 22 minutes and 20 to go. Reno Francot also there all over the back of Abakazava. As we now see an update in our timing screens, obviously a transponder perhaps late to react to the movements out on track, but Salim Hanna is in P2 right now. Wheel to wheel further back though as the 55er Dion Gouda looks to try and make his way past Max Popov, and indeed gets the move done. Fantastic move from Dion Gouda, and Max Popov has now dropped down to P11. It's a very nice run in towards turn one, carrying the speed, and that is exactly what you want to see. Utilising those back corners. Alexander Abexava, currently purple inside the first sector. He's just had it stolen away by Matteo Giaccardi as well in P16. There's Olivieri bidding to nick that podium place away from Stolchamanis. The gap has really started to form now between P2 and P3, and Salim Hanna has been given clairvoyance. Now we see a lock-up again from Max Popov. Looking to retake the place again from Dion Gouda. Kean Nakamura Berta, the Williams Jr., also hovering in behind us now. They look to go will-to-will once more. Popov looking to pop himself now inside the top 10. Can't quite do it. Gouda says no. The Van Amersfoort driver in their home weekend, looking to at least bring or ferry some points into Danielle Gheil's team. Of course, she's been managing the Van Amersfoort squad now for such a long time and carries a huge sense or immense level of pride anyway in governing this squadron now, as here comes Emmanuel Olivieri. Shut the door though, did Stolchamanis, saying absolutely not, but he's going to get another chance, opting for the switchback as they come through the S's and down the hill as well. So far though, Stolchamanis holding firm and reneging the opportunity as they once again fly over the crest of the hill. Abexava just waiting to pounce on any opportunity that may come into play. But the unfortunate thing here for Stolchamanis, he doesn't have the benefit of slipstream off his own teammate Salim Hanna at the moment, because he's careered onwards chasing after Seb Weldon as they now fly out of turn 8 through turns 9 and now turns 10 very shortly. There's Sebastian Weldon in the distance. Salim Hanna giving chase. I can tell you it's 1.4 between the top two, and it was the fastest lap of the race from Salim Hanna at the same time. Another look this time though as they make their way through towards the left-hander from Andrea Dupé. He needs to get busy to try and move his way inside the top half of this classification. So many drivers on the grid, of course, 30 cars amassed here at Zandvoort in this hugely popular championship that's very much cemented its footing on the pyramid system, feeding drivers into the Formula One echelons, of course, coming through the realms of F3 and F2. We've seen many examples of that already in the past as Race Control bid a 10-second time penalty to car 51 for causing a collision. That is Kean Nakamura Berta. Again, the finger has been pointed in the stewards' room. And fresh off the back of what occurred last time at Austria, that's the last thing the Prema driver would have wanted. Now the Williams Jr. has got the world on his shoulders at the moment. Currently still down in 12th place, hasn't really moved a muscle from where he started on the grid. There's now Seb Weldon. Makes his way through the slalom of corners through this middle sector here and now. Weldon, Hanna, Stolchamanis, Olivieri, Francot still in the mix as well. Very consistent this season so far has been Rino Francot. Of course, qualified inside the top 5 of his group through qualifying, had a very strong weekend in Austria that led to him becoming championship leader after the win in race 3. As we said at the top of the shop, of course, don't forget, we do have 4 races on the calendar, or 4 weekends that will be 3 race weekends, as we see the contact, and this is what led to the penalty. Yuki Sano ending up in the gravel after contact with Kean Nakamura Berta. The stewards have made their judgment off the back of this as well, as they now come down through towards turn 1. At the moment, Sebastian Weldon in control. The race very much going his way at this stage. Rino Francot just observing, waiting for any moment to occur between the likes of Stolchamanis and Olivieri, still ruthlessly fighting over 3rd place. The last spot on the podium, still a lengthy portion of this race still to go. And just look at this run here from Emmanuel Olivieri. He's looking to the outside. Door slammed shut again by Stolchamanis. Really placing his defensive shields up against the RACE GP man. Of course, Olivieri, a rookie, classified in this championship this season, the 17-year-old from Canelli in Italy. The F4 Middle Eastern champion, looking to take on Thomas Stolchamanis, who has taken part in F4 Southeast Asia, not to mention Italian F4 Middle East, at the same time where he finished 4th in that series too, hailing from Latvia. Both these drivers fighting over the rookie classifications as well. Currently, it is Stolchamanis leading rookie. So there is a race win on hand here for both drivers. Maybe not quite as integral or important or necessarily scores the points that you're looking for in terms of winning the overall race. But as far as the Rookies Championship is concerned, obviously Dion Gouda can tell you a little bit about winning that. As Sebastian Weldon now continues to lead us. Now here comes Olivieri, another look up the inside. He might look for the switchback though. Just look at the overspeed on the run out of turn 1. And Emmanuel Olivieri might have found the opportunity, and he does. Brilliant move from Emmanuel Olivieri as they come into the bank corners, pouncing on Tamas Stolchamanis and left him for dead on the run out of turn 1 through turn 2 and through towards turn 3. Spectacular stuff from the R-Race GP driver. And it now means 3 different teams sit inside our top 3 as it stands, with it being MP Motorsport, Prema and R-Race as well. Just look at this, pulling the car back. He knew he wasn't going to commit to the outside. The mission was clear. Up the inside coming out of turn 1, finding the throttle, feathering it perfectly. And he left Stolchamanis standing coming out of turn 1. Spectacular move from Emmanuel Olivieri. And this is the brilliance that we probably should have come to expect coming into Austria. It just wasn't to be, as we now see wheel-to-wheel battles further back as well. Alexander Abexaba, who has already lost out to Reno Francot, is now on the cusp of potentially losing out to Rashid Al-Dahiri, and there was contact as well at the chicane. Very close to seeing both cars perhaps spill off at this point. A very intense fight. But Abexaba still holds on to 6th right now. Let's take a look at this again. Wheel-to-wheel. Not a lot of room there for Rashid Al-Dahiri to play with. Somehow managed to keep the car on the track, as we now see Reno Francot looking to pounce this time on Stolchamanis, who is a glutton for punishment, and now looking to copy like for like after what Emmanuel Olivieri did. Reno Francot inspired by said move, looking to the outside now. Will he switch back? Coming out of the banked corner now. Yes, he might. Just look at the run he's getting as well on the outside, coming through the S-bends, wheel-to-wheel between Francot and Stolchamanis. Reno Francot rises into 4th place. Brilliant stuff from the CL Motorsport driver that delivered their first ever race win here in this series back at Austria. And this, of course, being Reno Francot's home race weekend here in the FIA Formula Regional European Championship as well. I can tell you as well that there is an investigation ongoing in terms of the race start right now between cars 2. Now I can tell you that that's Alex Ninovic and car 11 as well, which is Francisco Macedo. And apparently there's an issue with the start that they're looking to deal with, and Thomas Stolchamanis as well, which wouldn't come as a surprise, seeing as he had a phenomenal launch that led to him taking the lead of the race. So as soon as we get an update on that, folks, we will, of course, let you know with regards to that. But yes, very interesting that the stewards are taking note of the race start. So we'll see where that what that brings us. Obviously, Stolchamanis is currently being fodder for a series of drivers now battling to obtain the top 5 positions, and Alexander Abexaba, I'm sure, has no qualms of making moves. Speaking of moves being made, we've got the Trident team looking to make moves at the same time. Max Popov obviously has been hard at work trying to take down Keihan Nakamura Berta, and it looks like he might have actually taken his place back as well. We've got confirmation that he is currently sat in P11, Max Popov. Of course, Nakamura Berta has been pretty much cemented in P12, but don't forget, he does have the time penalty that will be added to his race time come the end of this race. He certainly won't want to carry that over to a grid penalty this time ahead of race 2. He will cite, no doubt, tomorrow morning's second qualifying session as an opportunity to fight back after being left outside the top 10 ahead of this particular race. But what a story, folks. We could be on hand to have our 4th different race winner of the season with Sebastian Weldon looking to join the group of Kei Nakamura, Berta, not to mention Rashid El Dahiri, and then later Rino Franco. Sensational stuff indeed. And incidentally, we've had 4 different teams on the top step of the podium at the same time too, which is absolutely astonishing. Just goes to show the very minimal disparity between each and every single driver. And we mentioned this actually coming out of free practice. The top 20 in FP2 were all within a second, which is absolutely sensational. So now Alexander Abexava sensing blood on the back of Stolchamanis. Rashid El Dahiri also there. And just look at this big launch here. As we take a look at the collective that are battling just further back. This is CL Motorsport, who are currently dallying here with the Rodin Motorsport team at the same time, coming through the banked crest corners. Also got a Van Amersfoort on their tail as well. This has been a very beefy battle here. Looks like we might have seen the roots of this as well. My goodness me. Huge launch up the inside from Francisco Macedo. Bidding to take down Razor C. Wortheren, and in fact managed to pull it off as well. That is an absolutely stunning overtake from Macedo over P15. And still 10 minutes to go in this action-packed affair. The drivers have not disappointed at all. It's been a stellar contest. It's still Seb Weldon looking to take it all the way to the end in what would be yet another lights to flag victory here at Zandvoort. I mentioned Gregoire Saucy at the top of the show, went from lights to flag on both occasions, did the same again in race 2. Paul Aaron did it the following season in race 1 and race 2 for Prema. Kaz Habercourt managed to do it in 2023 for Van Amersfoort Racing, as now we see them come together again, and this time Stolchamanis under fire from Abexava, who now looks to the inside. Brilliant move for the MP Motorsport man. He's going to commit to the inside, the better line, the Tiger line, and he pulls off the overtake to move into 5th place. Brilliant move from Alexander Abexava. And again, MP Motorsport can celebrate as the 19-year-old, who's had his fair share of solid performances in his F4 campaigns, now moving in good and proper into the Formula Regional District, and now inside the top 5 with some big points potentially going his way. And every point counts in this championship. It's not enough to just win the odd race. It's about being consistent across a whole season. Hence why Rino Franco is where he is now after the first 3 races of the campaign. They may not have all have been wins, but he's always featured inside the top 10 and even on the mainstay podium places, as we now restore our eyes to the front 2. And indeed, at the moment, we're seeing Salim Hanna really bust the numbers here. The delta really in his favour. In fact, his last lap was the fastest lap of the race, so 1:32.445. And he's reining the time gap in. Remember, it was as high as 1.5 seconds not too long ago. It's now within a second. So this race isn't over yet, folks. It's the 2 drivers that shared the front row at the start of the race that are now set to fight it out over who's going to reign supreme in the first of our Dutch races here in the 2026 FIA Formula Regional European Championship. Weldon or Hanna, who's it going to be? Olivieri still leads the rookie contingent in 3rd. It'd be a great honour for him to stand on the overall podium, as well as nestling in a tremendous rookie performance. Of course, it was the move on Stolchamanis, which will definitely go down as one of the moves of the race so far. We've seen a few of them already. This car enabling these drivers to race hard and race strong. We've seen lots of fair contests as well, but equally the stewards have had their fair share to look at. I can tell you that obviously the incident at turn 11 between cars 71 and 15 is under investigation. That is Rashid El Dahiri, of course, when he got pressed coming through the chicane section in the latter sector. Of course, Francisco Macedo was involved in that. Wasn't much of a gap there for Rashid El Dahiri to deal with. But the stewards now looking into all matters concerning that incident. But Rashid El Dahiri consumed with Stolchamanis in front, and of course, what a story this is. Aldahiri, former Prema driver from last season, now looking to hunt down a Prema here this time around at Zandvoort. They are wheel to wheel, and he might well get this done way before the corner. Just look at the rush he gets, coming down in towards turn one, back into the aero there from Stolchamanis, but surely he's not going to find the answer as they make their way out of turn one. Door shut in his face as now Rashid Aldahiri scoops up P6 and now goes hunting after Alexander Abakazaba. 6 minutes or so to go. And the battles continue. Zenrui Chi just in behind these two as well. The Aston Martin Junior, and a 5-second time penalty goes 15's way for forcing car 71 off track. Now that's Alexander Abakazaba. I'm going to correct my earlier statement, folks. I think there was an error on the timing screen. It was Alexander Abakazaba, if you might remember, who squashed Rashid Aldahiri to the chicane section heading into that third sector. Well, he's just received a 5-second time penalty, has Alexander Abakazaba, which is, I would imagine, music to the ears of Rashid Aldahiri. It means now P5 could well be in his pocket when the checkered flag comes out at the end of the race. The steward's very active at the moment, but still time left to go. 5 minutes and 25. Weldon still leads, but the gap still coming down. It's now under 9/10 of a second. The last lap was in Weldon's favour, but not by much, as Salim Hanna continues to pepper in the very early 1:33s. Not the most optimal time, as Emmanuel Olivieri has just posted the fastest lap as well, so keep your eyes on the young rookie as they now fly down through towards turn one. Really unfortunate circumstances there for Abakazaba, but just went in far too strong into the chicane at Hans Ernst-Bocht at turn 11 and turn 12, less than ideal. And the good work that he had laid down has just near enough been snuffed away thanks to the penalty that he's now received. But anything can happen in motorsport. His job now to try and reduce the damage that penalty is going to cause, and I'm sure his team have been on the radio. This is, of course, the MP Motorsport home weekend. They do still have a driver lead in this race at the moment, but for how much longer? If Salim Hanna is able to close the gap, it throws this entire race into question as Zenrui Chi continues to defend against Alex Nidovic, who has been on the rise, it has to be said. Started outside the top 10 from P11, currently P9, 2 places gained from where he started. He might yet get a third here as he now looks to go wheel to wheel. If he commits to the inside on the run down, it will become the outside coming into the chicane. Zenrui Chi, the Aston Martin Junior, defending the place very nicely, but it's whether he's hampered on the escape, because it looks like Nidovic perhaps got a slightly better run. He may yet chance his arm coming through the bank section out of the final corners. Not quite yet. And the big question is, do they have any race mode left available to utilise before the checkered flag comes out as well? Oh, so powerful and prevalent on the escape from corners, the drivers have been saying, utilising the race mode necessarily through the long straights out of the corner apexes, just to give them that launch. Heading down a straight to open up a few doors. We've got some side-by-sides further back. This might be Max Popov, I think, who's right in the mix with Gabriel Gomez. We've also got further up more wheel-to-wheel action with, yes, that was Gomez, currently fighting it out with Macedo. And in fact, I think Macedo has found the answer. In fact, he's moved ahead, I think, of even potentially, I think he might have found the move past Gabriel Gomez. I believe he has, as they now cruise over the crest. 2 Rodins manacled together. That's Razor Seaworthen, I think, who's also right in the mix. There's been a huge almighty tussle happening just outside the top 10. And Jules Roussel, also part of this contingent at the same time, just in behind Seaworthen. As Sakir Al-Maserji tries to hold on, but here comes now Yuki Sano. Up his inside, we could be seeing wheel-to-wheel between those two now on the run down through towards the chicane. A little bit of movement once again. Yuki Sano unable to get the move done. Sakir Al-Maserji joining G4 Racing for the season's campaign. Of course, we saw him last season for his debut season in this championship, and now into this new era of car. One of the few that has tasted the previous gen, as we now see a lock-up further back. Now, I believe that's Solchamanis, who is still continuously dropping and hemorrhaging time. Ninovic may soon yet be on his tail. Another few lockups here from cars further back, and this might lead to that conversation around tyre degradation that we've been talking about in the intense heat here at Zandvoort. This is what can happen. As the cars now fly out of the back corner sections, and again another tyre. It looks like Matteo Giaccardi all over the back of Jules Roussel at the moment. We'll get clarification on that. I believe it is, in fact, battling over 16th place, coming through the back section. Seaworthy not too far ahead in the distance as they now fly through the double right-handers. Still 50 seconds to go. At the moment, Seb Weldon in control, though the gap has come down again. I will say this, Salim Hanna just under 6.5 tenths away from our race leader, so he might choose to gamble for a last gasp effort at perhaps taking this race win. And there you can see him right in the distance, just looks to the inside, just throwing the dummy a bit too far back though for that to do anything, as we now see Emmanuel Olivieri 3.1 back at the moment, but 2.6 away from second place, as the counter now very soon will tick to 0. The Floridian Sebastian Weldon looking for this to go from lights to flag, with Salim Hanna still giving chase, and he's still continuously getting closer. Just half a second between the two of them at the front end of the order. Don't forget, we still have another lap to bring you folks. Still an opportunity for Salim Hanna to prepare potentially for a last gasp overtake. On the run, perhaps coming down in towards turn 1. Depends on the exit he gets out of the bank corners. But Weldon flying through the chicane section here once again. Out of turn 12 he'll go. And then turn 13. And Salim Hanna closer than ever as they now come around the final two corners. 14 coming next. And then the power goes down for a run down through towards turn 1. Here comes Salim Hanna now. Surely, if there's any race mode left, he's going to be applying it this time as they do now begin said final lap. A look to the inside again from Hanna. No way near close enough as we see Olivieri, who is 2.7 seconds in behind. And then we have the furious fight over piece 4, 5, 6, 7, the remainder of the top 10 basically, but they're not quite close enough to challenge Francot at the moment. But the final lap in full swing. It's Weldon and Hanna, the front two on the starting grid, now set to contest over a potential race win. And I'm telling you now, there's opportunities aplenty for these two to go at it. Can Weldon defend against the rapid Colombian, who's looking all over the back of the MP Motorsport car? Prema looking to break the hearts of the home nation MP Motorsport team. What a moment this could be in this race. And I can tell you that not once in this championship has MP Motorsport ever won here at Zandvoort. This could be a memorable day to go from lights to flag here for Sebastian Weldon. Salim Hanna still chasing all over the back, couldn't get the move done coming through turns 7, 8 and 9, but this might be his one and only shot. A look to the outside, not quite able to do it as it's now closed off by Sebastian Weldon. They come out of the chicane once again out of turn 12. Surely it's all said and done. No way Hanna could come back as they come through turn 13 and turn 14. Dutch magic is certainly alive and kicking for MP Motorsport. For the first time in the Formula Regional European Championship, they will win their home race of Zandvoort. Second place for Salim Hanna, with Emmanuel Olivieri coming home in third. He's on the podium. Salim Hanna giving a grand account of himself. What a race that was. Huge battle towards the end. Just could not quite find the opening. Could Salim Hanna. Further back, Rino Francot consistently again inside the top 5 placings. Alexander Abexava down in 5th. Rashid Al-Dahiri in 6th. Alex Ninovic in 7th place. There's the MP Motorsport team. What a moment for them in their history in this championship. They've only ever taken 2 race wins. They've just made it victory number 3. They're 1 behind Trident. And there's team boss Martin de Busse. What a magical start to the Dutch weekend. Sebastian Weldon, take a bow, our 4th different race winner of the season. And yet another team this campaign tasting the maximum 25 points. There's Martin de Busse, all smiles here at Zandvoort. An epic encounter. Got to give credit to Salim Hanna for trying to close the gap down, and he certainly did, just nestling in some really fast laps to bring the deficit down. Emmanuel Olivieri was purple inside the first sector of that last lap. He kept pushing right to the end. You never know what could have come from Emmanuel Olivieri. As the marshals wave the drivers home. What a race. We'll take you through the classification. Sebastian Weldon, your winner at the close of race 1 here at Zandvoort. Salim Hanna in 2nd, Emmanuel Olivieri in 3rd, Rino Francot in 4th, Rashid Al-Dahiri 5th, Alex Ninovic in 6th place, Thomas Dolce-Manis in 7th, Alexander Abaksava in 8th, with Zenrici in 9th. Dion Gouda finishes off the top 10. In P11, we can then move down to Max Popov. We also have Francisco Macedo, with Gabriel Gomez down in 13th place. Reza Seaworthen in 14th, ahead of Jules Roussel in 15th. Matteo Giacardi in 16th, and Sakir Al-Masergi in 17th, ahead of Yuki Sano. Then Andrea Dupé in 19th as well. Moving down into P20, Kai Darianani. Then we have Alexandra Munoz in 21st. Further back, Jan Sharovsky in 22nd, with Kea Nakamura-Berta in 23rd. Marcus Sater in 24th, ahead of Thomas Strauben. Then Kabir Anurag, the Alpine Junior, in 26th. Then Rahim Alabai in 27th, ahead of Andrea Kostic in 28th. And of course, we lost Giovanni Maschio and Miguel Costa as well. Important to note that our rookie winner is Emmanuel Olivieri as well. So some vital points earned, not just in the overalls, but also in terms of the rookie championship. Well done him for that. But what a miraculous race. What a performance. Goes without saying, a massive battle. Emmanuel Olivieri, your P3 sitter. Didn't he do it in style? Of course, broke away from the cars in behind, and the rookie win goes his way. Salim Hanna, who gave everything in the closing laps to close down to our eventual race winner, trying to silence the Dutch fans who no doubt would have come in support of MP Motorsport, to taste success for only the 3rd time in their history here in this series. And it's Sebastian Weldon who claims his first win, going from lights to flag. A courageous drive, and he'll now hop out of the chassis. The Floridian replaces the wheel. This one, no doubt, goes out to Andretti as well, of which he's a junior. It's victory for Seb Weldon. A tasty performance, and without doubt, this young man's got a lot of potential. What could these two, as in driver and team, achieve together? With Andretti behind him, MP Motorsport as well. The future surely is bright for this young man. He will stand on the top step of the podium. And very special on DTM weekend at the same time. So many young talents arriving on the scene at this campaign. We've been so privileged to see a gargantuan number of new rookie talents. Masters in their field in F4 and rising up through the ranks in Formula Regional, whether it be the Middle Eastern Championship or indeed European in the past from last season. And of course, we're getting them into the preparation, or putting them through their paces ahead of possible seats in FIA Formula 3, FIA Formula 2. And then later, we hope to see them all in Formula 1, of course. And in the recent years, we've seen so many of them successfully do that, and we could be in the midst of potentially crowning our first ever former FIA Formula Regional European Championship Formula 1 World Champion in Andrea Kimi Antonelli. You simply never know. But this is just another chapter on the journey here for Seb Weldon. And look at what it meant as well to Martin de Busse, the team boss of MP Motorsport, at their home race as well. For the first time, they're winners here in the FIA Formula Regional European Championship. Both driver and team tasting glory. The question is, though, can they do it again? Tomorrow is obviously where they'll have to focus their attention on now. But for now, he'll enjoy this one. Immense emotion in Parc Fermé. And quite a number of fans as well flocking in to enjoy not just the GT action, but also the single-seater action. The fans are being treated to a grand deal of spice with all sorts of action from across the globe. Drivers from all realms of the globe flocking into Zandvoort. And harbours a grand motorsport culture here in the Netherlands as well. As you can now see the fans watching on just underneath the podium. Of course, very soon we'll see them stand tall and accept their prizes. And the number one on show, Seb Weldon, and MP Motorsport congratulating him as well. I mean, what a unit this could be, a very formidable group. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be misery for Ken Nakamura Berta. Many, of course, tipping him to be champion this season in the FIA Formula Regional European Championship. And for good reason, too. He comes in with quite the reputation. And I'm sure even if you're Alex Ninovic, despite him gaining the places that he did, obviously he needs to get the qualifying right if he wants to feature at the mainstay places. It just did not quite work out for him first thing this morning. But regardless, folks, that has been an action-packed race. We'll see you again tomorrow morning for qualifying 2. But from all of us here in Zandvoort, it's goodbye.
Okay, wait here, guys.